example of a Reconstructionist who was prominent a few years ago, and I want to mention that Christian Reconstructionism was basically founded by R.J. Rushdoony in 1973 as sort of the founder of Christian Reconstructionism. I also found out at just about the last minute that he's also credited with having being majorly influential in creating the modern homeschooling movement. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to take that opportunity to make a quick swipe at one of our other favorite targets.
Nice.
So Reconstructionism and homeschooling, founded by the same guy. I mean, the current modern form of homeschooling in the U.S. Okay. Let me talk for a minute about my favorite disciple of R.J. Rushdoony, which is his son-in-law. And let me start out by reading something he wrote that may sound familiar if you have a long memory. The year 2000 problem, the year the Earth stands still. We've got a problem. It may be the biggest problem that the modern world has ever faced. I think it is. At 12 midnight on January 1st, 2000, a Saturday morning, most of the world's mainframe computers will either shut down or begin spewing out bad data. Most of the world's desktop computers will also start spewing out bad data. Tens of millions, possibly hundreds of millions of pre-programmed computer chips will begin to shut down the systems they automatically control. This will create a nightmare for every area of life in every region of the industrialized world. It's called the year 2000 problem. It's also called the Millennium Bug, Y2K, and the Millennium Time Bomb. The bomb isn't going away. Think of what happens if the following areas go down and stay down for months or even years. Banks, railroads, public utilities, telephone lines, military communications, and financial markets. What about Social Security and Medicare? If Social Security and Medicare go down, it will affect millions of people, yet both programs are at risk. Months before January 1st, 2000, the world's stock markets will have crashed. Who is going to leave his money in his bank if he thinks his bank's computer is not reliable? A worldwide run on the banks will create havoc in the investment markets. People who have placed their retirement hopes in stocks and mutual funds will see their dreams vanish. How reliable will stocks and mutual funds be if the banking system has closed down? How will you even get paid? How will your employer get paid? How will governments get paid? Hey, Matt, remember when all that happened?
I might have been asleep that day. It got better.
Yeah, there was like horrible Armageddon for a couple of minutes, and then it just went away.
Oh,
weirdest thing.
No, actually there wasn't. Not even for a couple of minutes.
No.
It's like this threat of an asteroid's going to collide with the planet, and and it just misses. Whoops.
That's amazing how that happened. The guy that I was just quoting was Gary North, who happens to be R.J. Rushdoony's son-in-law, and presented himself as this very unbiased observer who's a hard-eyed realist, who was just trying to warn people of the impending doom. And there's this very amusing article in Wired magazine on January 5th of 2000, which I've linked from the blog, saying, after a relatively smooth transition to 2000, North finds himself in the somewhat uncomfortable position of having to retract his doomsday predictions. I'm certainly willing to say that my assessment of the threat as things have played out was incorrect, North wrote in a statement published Wednesday on his website.
Well, good for him.
Yes, good for him.
I mean, there are plenty of other, there are plenty of other doomsday predictions that have taken place, especially with regard to the rapture / tribulation / millennialism thing, where the end of the world is coming. Are you ready for the rapture? And then people will give a date, and it's coming now. And when they're wrong, I don't normally see a statement saying, obviously I was wrong. I have some dates.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, 1844, William Miller predicted Christ would return between March 21st and 1843 and March 21st, 1844. So you get like a whole year span, which is actually pretty good because during...
Oh, by the way, you have the phone number.
yeah. During that, by the way, the phone number's up. You can call in and talk about this or other things. Yeah, that's a good kind of thing. But he revised his predictions, claiming to have miscalculated to October 22nd, and that's where the Advent movement, the Seventh-day Adventists, came from. 1977, William Brannan prophesied the rapture would take place then. Chuck Smith thought it was 81. Edgar Weisnett published a book, 88 Reasons Why the Rapture is in 1988. 1989, publication of The Final Shout by the same guy. So he published 88 Reasons Why the Rapture was in 88. 89, he didn't give 89 reasons. He just called it The Final Shout, Rapture Report, 1989.
Maybe he just had to give one more reason.
Well, evidently even more, because he also called it for 92, 95, and other years. A Korean group predicted it in 92, 93, 7 years before the millennium. There were a number of predictions about 2000. John Hinkle predicted June 9th, 1994. But now there are some that are for the future. Harold Camping's revised prediction has May 20... Revised. Good for you, right, Harold? May 21st, 2011.
2011.
Yeah.
That can't be it, because the real end is when the Mayan calendar runs out.
I thought the real end was if you look at the Great Pyramid, you can calculate dates, and there's markers, and they coincide with really strong points in history, and then they end in this bottomless pit. And I thought it was like May 5th, 2005, so we might have passed that.
Yeah.
So the Egyptians might have got it wrong, too. Sir Isaac Newton proposed, based on his calculations using figures from the book of Daniel, that the rapture could happen no earlier than 2060.
Oh.
Now, here's a genius.
That's good.
I'm going to make a prediction that can't possibly be wrong until way after I'm dead. And
well, even then it can't be wrong, because if it never comes, then his statement is literally accurate.
It couldn't happen earlier than 2060. Might happen afterwards. He's right on the money. He'll never be proven wrong. I think Newton was a genius.
Yeah.